A big homecoming game. Excited to be back in action this week. We had a bye week last week. I think it was much needed for our program. It gave us an opportunity to really focus on us a little bit for a week. We got some kids healthy. And then we jump into region play this week. We get to play a really good Union team. Excited to start off region play. You know, the season's kind of broken up into three parts. You get your non-region schedule, then you get your region schedule, and then playoffs. So now you're starting to play for something. You know, when you play your region games, you know, anytime you get to compete for a championship, we want to try to go and win it. We won it last year. So it's been a goal of ours to try to do that. The importance of that is sets yourself up for the playoffs, and we get to play some local teams. Our kids are excited about that as we move forward. We had a really good off week, and we've had a good week so far. Dealt with some weather, which was nice for us to go through some of those things. We practiced in the rain a few days. So it's been a good week. You always worry as a coach because it's fun. You want them to enjoy Spirit Week and homecoming. There's a lot of distractions for those kids, and they've handled it well. I think they've enjoyed the week and the festivities that we have, and with the Powder Puff game and food trucks on campus today. So we'll have one more day of prep this afternoon to get dialed in, and hopefully we go and put on our best performance this week.
Yeah. So, you know, going into this week, we've been preaching everybody's in our way. You know, we're in a good region. You know, everybody's coming out. We're getting everybody's best. And like you said, there are some distractions. You're going home, you know. We're doing actually a senior assassin, so, you know, we got that. But then we got to stay focused on what's ahead of us. And I think we're coming in very prepared. Worth ethic from the D-line is like no other. I mean, we go in focused, training like we're about to play the upper state game, state championship game. And, you know, a lot of our success is actually in the weight room. We get pushed. I mean, even before we actually touch a weight, I mean, we're out there sweating already. And, you know, coming in the region, that's important. And I feel like we've done a great job.
So y'all are 5-0, and this is the first region game. So how are you going to go into that?
Yeah, I'm proud of our non-region success that we had, but kind of told the kids as we started, we didn't get anything for it. You know, the development and the success that we had, it's what we want to try to use, and things that we've learned. You know, going into this season with new faces and new people, that's how it is every time you start a season. You used to have some unanswered questions. You want to know who's going to step up, who are going to be your depth pieces. You know, now that we're 6 weeks into this thing, including our bye week, I think we know who our team is. We know who we can rely on. We know what our strengths are. We know what our weaknesses are and things that we need to continue to improve upon. So just really focused on trying to take the next step. We talk about that a lot with our kids is every day that we show up, we want to take a step ahead, you know, a step further in our program. You know, this is our next game. You know, so if we're doing what we're supposed to do, you know, this should be the best game in MVP history because it's our next one. It's our opportunity to build upon the things that we've done well and to also address the weaknesses that we've had. With it being our next game, hopefully it's our best game that we've played. So just really challenging those kids to take that mindset and know that, you know, ultimately what we're doing every single week is to hopefully work ahead to our ultimate goal, and that's to play for a championship. In order to do that, you've got to be able to take the next step every single day. That's at practice, that's in the classroom, that's from who you are as a person. So hopefully we've done that, and it shows on Friday.
Of course. I mean, well, from a player's perspective, I say coming into those first 5 weeks don't really mean anything after the bye week. You know, like I said, I mean, we work hard for these 5 weeks. I mean, these teams, this is what matters right here. So, I mean, that 5-0, that was like you said, I'm going to touch off of that, finding our pieces. I mean, we found a lot of great depth. I mean, we got guys, we got dogs. And, you know, we worked, and that's just what it's about. So that 5 weeks, that's 5 weeks of work preparing for these 5 weeks right here.
Peyton, how do you lead the D-line?
How do I lead the D-line? You know what? This is what I tell them, you know, I know who I am as a player, and I try to touch with those guys. Like, I'm a big off-the-field guy. Like, yo, Joji, matter of fact, one of our players, Joji got hurt. He's back. I'm checking on him day in, day out. AJ, a big guy, you know. He big player on defense. I'm checking on him, calling him at night, checking on him how his rehab's going. So I'm not I'll give you 100% at whatever I do on the field, but it may not be the best. So I'm going to make sure I look out for those guys off the field and do what I can.
Is y'all's practice plan going to change up since we're going into region and soon playoffs?
No, I think that's the beauty of what we do. I think it's a part of our culture. I think it's part of our staff. You know, if you go back and look at our week 0 practice schedule, it's going to be the same as if we're fortunate enough to be in a state championship game. You know, I believe in our kids and their maturation process and what they believe in. You know, we shouldn't have to change anything. I never want them to come in. You know, we talk about this some in press conferences. Does your game plan change? You know, schemes change, but I don't ever want our kids coming into practice on Monday and just because it's a bigger game or it's a championship game, we start doing things differently. We prepare our Monday, this Monday, should look the exact same, and our effort and our attitude and our intensity should be the same thing if we're fortunate enough to make it all the way to the end. So, you know, things change. We've got things that we need to, depending upon the opponent, that we want to change and that we got to make sure that we work on and that we're prepared for a Friday. But the overall things that we do on a Monday, Mondays are Mondays. This is what they can expect from their lifts to their practice to what we look like after school and our schedule all the way through the week and even into our pregame rituals that we have on Friday. I want them to be comfortable in what we do and for them to believe in it and understand that we do those things for a reason.
Yeah, and I'd like to touch on that. My Southern's about to come out. We don't take nothing easy. So, you know, even if it's a walkthrough, we going 100%. We give it our all. I mean, best look, show team. I mean, it doesn't matter what day it is. Doesn't matter what week it is. We going. We going. That's all we do. That's all we train to do. That's all we coach.
What are some challenges in the weight room as a player and as a coach?
You go ahead.
Oh, okay. As a player, I mean, just keeping our guys focused. But, you know, that's not a big deal when you know your coach should be elite. So coming in the weight room, our guys are focused. We're already going. You know, no one has to tell us what to do, and we're getting straight to it. So that's not really a challenge. I mean, I guess holding each other accountable that's one thing. You know, everybody has to look towards in the weight room. But you know, our guys are trained to be elite. So
from our perspective, is trying to make the environment of the weight room, you know, the toughest thing that our kids go through. You know, that should be where you're getting sharpened the most. We're still, you know, these kids are, they're kids, you know, so, you know, they're 17 years old all the way down to, we've got some freshmen, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. You know, you get to see a difference of them on a daily basis. They go through a lot. Sometimes it's an emotional thing. Sometimes it's stress. You know, it could be an academic thing that they're going through. To get them to understand that, you know, what we want to do, you got to be focused in the weight room. And that's just a small part of what we do. We talked about this yesterday. You know, we started off slow in practice, and we didn't have a good day in the weight room yesterday. You know, we had to kind of flip the switch really quick. We came in, again, a lot of distractions this week. We started off slow in the weight room, and I think they learned that what we say is not false. You know, it's stuff that we've got to be able to do. You can't decide to be great at 3:30 when we go to practice, and you just flip a switch and, okay, I'm going to be detailed now. I'm going to be disciplined now. Well, if you're not detailed and you're not a person that loves discipline at 10:30 in math class, that's who you are. You know, you're creating bad habits for your brain, bad habits for your body, and you know, we've got too many times kids kind of float through the day. And they don't give us our best effort at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock and make good decisions. You're not going to be able to make good decisions on the football field. You know, so selfishly, you know, I want them to be good in all other areas of their lives, you know, from who they are as a student and how they behave and what they do. But I know as a football coach, if I can get them to believe in that's going to help us out on the football field. So, I mean, it's a win-win for me. As long as they do what they're supposed to do, and they do most of the time. That's why we're a coach. That's why we're here as mentors. You know, it's our job to get them through those tough days and to motivate them and help them understand why we want to do what we do.
What are some of those pregame rituals y'all go through?
Yeah, try to keep the same. I'll let Panda knock on what he does to get focused. But you know, for us is to try to remain focused on the game. It's easy in a world of distractions now, from cell phones to social media. You know, I get on to our kids all the time. On game, I don't care what Instagram says. I don't care. I want us focused on what we're supposed to be doing. You know, we have flexibility with our Friday schedule here. Our kids typically report based on what their grades are. Some of them have to come in for a study hall. Kids that are doing well in the classroom, they get a little bit more of an extended morning. That's a reward that we have. We'll bring everybody in around noon for their game day lift. So we do lift on game day. You know, you reverse things 10, 15 years ago. Lifting on game day was, I can't believe y'all are lifting, but it's important for their central nervous system to get going and to be active. Coach McCarthy does a really good job in the weight room for those guys. We split it up into offense and defense. So while one group's in offense and lifting, the other group's meeting. We're going through the game plan and making sure that we've got those done. Once we get done with our lifts, we have walkthroughs every Friday. Then we have a team meeting. We go over special teams reminders, and then the really big part of that pregame ritual is our devotion that we have with our team. Then we have our pregame meal. It's about the same time every week that we time it out, around 3 o'clock, and we eat our pregame meal. They get their pants, and then they have a walkthrough. And then we're usually on the bus going where we need to go. And kind of going back to Noah's question earlier, you know, that's just keeping them in that same routine and trying to eliminate those distractions and getting them to put their phones up and to, you know, get away from the world a little bit and to focus on what we need to. You know, some of them are, you know, they'll get into their quiet place, they put their headphones on and they find a place that they can get away a little bit. You know, they each have their different playlists that they like. I like it as a coach, you know, it's the one time during the week that I tell our coaches, you won't see me for a little bit. I'm very active throughout the week, but they kind of know from that morning session, and then once they get into their lifts, I get into my office. You know, I have the music on that I listen to. I'm into a devotion. It's just a time for me to kind of get my mind right for the game as well. So just as much as they have pregame rituals and routines, you know, so do I. So I think it's important for their bodies and their minds to have that routine. And then Payne, I don't know what exactly his is. I'm sure it's well, I mean, it's detailed.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll give you like the player aspect of it. I mean, as seniors, we have our, you know, we all talk. So we wake up and, you know, on game day, like every day, we wake up, tell each other to be great. Wake up. That's the first thing. We want to wake up better than everybody. Do everything better than everybody. So, you know, we all, no matter what time we have to be at the school, I mean, we're all waking up early, you know, getting ready mentally, physically. So, I mean, you know, then we get here, you know, straight, our phones are up. I mean, the coaches, they've all came together. They've done a good job on, you know, of us being disciplined, and that's what's important about our program. We're disciplined, and that's what's going to come to at the end. So, and that's what it brings it down on game day. So, you know, we come in, and then
What's on your playlist?
What's on my playlist?
What you listening to?
You know, I'm a rain type of guy. You know, I got to go in on like, you know, a bunch of like weather type of music. Okay. But like, you know, we get to the field and we stay focused. So, and that's how we come out.
What about like Union County specifically? What are the biggest challenges you're expecting from them?
I think that they do a lot. You know, we've had to be prepared. You turn on their tape, you know, from an offensive standpoint for them. So for our defense, you know, they run a lot of formations, some different schemes. I think that they, in the first 5 weeks, just like we have, are trying to find their identity. Last year, they were kind of plagued by injuries at times, so they were kind of forced to run a very limited package offensively. And Coach Isom, being in his second year, he's building a program. You can tell that they're finding their way. You know, they're being able to build their program, and it's making them multidimensional. You know, we have to be very detailed and disciplined on the defensive side of the ball this week because they can do a lot of different things. You know, they've scored through the air. They've been efficient on the ground. They do a lot of things that can be, I guess you said, they're not trick plays, but they disguise things up with eye candy. You got to be there. And then on the offensive side for us and defensively, you know, you're getting multiple looks. You're getting one high safety looks. You're getting two high safety looks. You know, they'll get into a 3-man front, a 4-man front, you know, which changes how you block things. It changes how your run schemes change and where we need to be. So the fact that they do a lot, and I think they do everything that they do in a well-coached manner. So it's been a tough week of preparation for us, which is a good thing. We need to be tested in that regard. I love when our kids get challenged. You know, I love that they take pride in, you know, being the fastest, and we watch our 40 times, you know, starting to improve, and we watch our bench numbers go up, and we watch our squat numbers go up in the weight room, but also taking pride, being the smartest team. looking at the advantages that we have when you game plan and to take advantage of the things that we know and to make plays. So their challenge is that they're going to be multidimensional, and we've got to make sure that we get lined up properly. Panda plays defense. I've said this before. 10 guys can do it right on defense, and one person messes it up, and we give up a touchdown. So it's not just, oh, man, they had a 10-yard play. A touchdown's a big thing in the region game, and offensively, taking care of the football. They force turnovers. We've got to take care of the football. They're really good at getting their hands on the ball and taking it away from you. So turnover battles are always key when we get into region time.
Of course. I love it. I mean, we watch them. They're a well-coached team, well put together. And it's all about reading. It's reading everything on the football field. And I think we take pride in what we do, and, we prepare the right way. So, Union's good. They're always a strong team, always a strong county. It's always going to be tough. So.
All right. I know we have a lot going on today, so I don't want to keep you guys longer than we have to, but is there anything else that we left out that you want to discuss?
No, it's homecoming week. I hope everybody that's watching and that are in here that we get to the game this week up to North Greenville. It's good to be back home. It'll be a lot of festivities. I know people are excited for the homecoming court and the things that we have going on before the game. And hopefully the game, while we're there, is something that everybody can be prideful of, and that we put on a good performance. We appreciate everybody's support this week. It's been a great non-conference slate. I think everybody's excited and ready to go.
Let's go.
Okay, so thank you guys. We appreciate you.